We're going to look at the buy, sell, holds, and trades from Week 3 fantasy football, looking at the Sunday games, looking at the box scores, talking about the game scripts from what I saw in Red Zone. You're chiming in the chat box below of what you saw as well. But before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're looking at these players every day. We're going deep on the waiver wire. We're deep diving the trending players with the You Need series. And we're helping you set your lineups by looking at the matchups, doing battle videos. And on top of that, ranking the players on Wednesday and Thursday. Click that button. Stop missing out. It's free. Ric Flair's watching. You do not want to disappoint Ric Flair, so you better click that button. We're starting off here, Browns and Packers. And like I've been saying, we do not mess around with the Browns defense. Big-time media is starting to notice. They're starting to figure it out, and it's too late for them because the over-unders were too high. The Ravens scored a lot last week, but they held Derrick Henry in check. Now everybody's figuring it out. We've been saying this the whole time. We saw it against the Bengals. We're seeing it now. Love held 183 yards and a touchdown. Josh Jacobs got fraud checked. Matthew Golden, about 9.2 PPR fantasy points. Tucker Kraft, he was out there, but we knew it was a bad matchup. We told you Fantasy Pros had him ranked too high. The rest of the wide receivers didn't get anything done for you on the Packers. David Njoku had 7 targets, 5 balls caught, 90 yards. Really nothing else from any of the pass catchers. Isaiah Bond got 4 targets in this matchup. Jerry Jeudy has been horrible this year. Cedric Tillman is just a splash play every week waiting to happen. Whether it happens or not is the big question for fantasy managers. Harold Fannin, don't chuck him to the waiver wire yet because this Packers matchup was nasty. This is also one of the top defenses in the league. Quinshon Judkins does not care. Quinshon Judkins does not care. He does not care if you're the Packers. He does not care if you're a tough defense. He probably doesn't even know any better. 94 yards and a touchdown. He is here, guys. He is here. I hope you got him. I hope you got him. I hope you drafted him when he was cheap. I hope you picked him up off waivers, however you got him. He is here. Joe Flacco will start week 4. He was horrendous in this game. He was bad. 3.9 yards per attempt. A pick, no touchdowns, 142 yards. And they were just happy they won the game. They're happy they won the game. They get to go another week with Flacco. Dylan Gabriel was on the cusp. He was on the cusp. I do not know how much longer they're going to be able to roll Joe Flacco out there because the media in Cleveland is Dylan Gabriel this, Dylan Gabriel that, Shadur Sanders next, this, that. Everything's hot right now with the Browns. They should be 2-1, though. They're a kick away from being 2-1. That's the thing. This is one of the nastiest defenses in the league they hit in this year's draft. Colts, Titans, and Daniel Jones dropping the dimes here. 228 yards, crushing it, and Jonathan Taylor going off. Remember when it was Clyde Edwards-Helaire versus Jonathan Taylor? You remember that, how people try to get smart with the Chiefs? You remember that when Clyde Edwards-Helaire was barely ranked top 10 running backs, but he's going first round to the Chiefs. Everybody had to chase that situation. Jonathan Taylor, stellar prospect profile from Wisconsin. 3 touchdowns, 102 yards. We're killing it. We got a quarterback here that can facilitate. DJ Giddens, we're looking at him as an upside flyer here, as a lottery ticket on our bench if something happens to Jonathan Taylor. Like, I'm just stashing. If I have Jonathan Taylor, I'm just stashing. Michael Pittman. I liked him going into this week. I was a little bit iffy because targets are spread around this offense, as you can see right here. 6 balls caught, 73 yards, and a touchdown. Alec Pierce got a concussion, but he's racking up targets every game. Josh Downs, only 3 targets in this matchup. I bet you he's just going to be volatile this year because you got Tyler Warren added to this offense now, soaking up targets. The ball's being spread around well. Michael Pittman's back. He was dealing with a back injury last year, playing through it. A.D. Mitchell, 2 targets. So if Pierce is out, A.D. Mitchell, you may want to think about him as the deep play. But most of you in 12-team leagues, traditional leagues, weren't starting Alec Pierce anyways. That's just how it was. So you're probably not looking at that. Tony Pollard got his first rushing touchdown, averaging 2.8 yards per carry, 45 yards on the ground. Cam Ward is a gunslinger. He just slings it. 219 yards, touchdown and a pick. Chigakonku, like I've been saying, he's been getting work. 6 targets, 5 balls caught, 66 yards. Elic Ayomanor, another touchdown. So what, 6, 9, 13 fantasy points, enough to get you by if you started him. Tyler Lockett's not really getting enough work. Calvin Ridley's not hitting. He's just not hitting. He's getting deeper targets downfield, but he's not hitting. He's getting 7 targets. He's getting volume. So he might give you something down the line. I like the target volume there, but he's not hitting. You're looking at this Titans team. You got a rookie quarterback. You're going to be in some weird game scripts. Tony Pollard's hard to trust right now. You're looking over here at Danny Dimes. He's been chucking it. He's been looking solid. Bengals, Vikings, and I'm not surprised. I knew there was going to be movement in this game, and one call out I had was Carson Wentz might be all right. And I'll say all right, because Carson Wentz facilitated the football. That's all he needed to do in this situation. 173 yards, 2 touchdowns. Justin Jefferson, 7 targets. Hawk, 6 targets. Naylor, 5. He's not doing anything strange back there. He's just facilitating the rock to where it needs to go. He's getting it to his studs. And 5 for 75 for Justin Jefferson, considering he's a backup quarterback. That's fine. Touchdown for Hawk. You're looking at Jordan Mason here. They said he was going to get a lot of work. He got a lot of work. 16 carries, 116 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's solid. This was a good game script, a good matchup for him. I had him as a start. I had him pumped up my rankings. I had a Fantasy Pros. It was early in the week. I knew that was good to go, good to rock. Now, on the other side of the football, not really into Chase Brown. I had him down in my rankings. Also had him ranked in a spot where I thought he could score more, and he was in a position to score more, and we knew Jake Browning was going to make this rough. Probably could have had him down lower, and he will be much lower considering, and we knew this was a rough matchup. We knew this was going to be rough. That defense is no joke for the Vikings. You also got to look at the 2024 stats with them. They're holding running backs and wide receivers in check. 6 targets for Chase, 5 for 50. You got 10 points. I think I'd take that and run with it considering what we saw from the Bengals. Noah Fant came out of this, but got 5 targets. Drew Sample got some work. Like, Higgins only got 2 targets in this matchup. I'm scared for his fantasy potential going forward with what we're seeing here at quarterback, but it is what it is. They're going to funnel the targets to Chase. That's what Browning has been doing. He actually gets more targets with Browning. He actually scores a little bit better in game script. We went over that on live stream this morning with Browning because he just chucks it to him, which if I was Browning, that's what I would do too. I'd just toss it up to Chase, see what happens. That's probably what we'll see with Wentz and Jefferson here later. But when you're looking at this, Bengals are poor right now. They need Joe Burrow back. They're looking bad at running back right now. Chase Brown hasn't been hitting. T. Higgins, the volume isn't really there. Jordan Mason's going to be getting the rock. And I think Wentz might be a flyer for you if you got a straight buy off the waiver wire because he's got all the weapons here to help fuel his fantasy production. Steelers, Patriots, another interesting game here. So you're looking at the running backs for the Patriots. None of them really hit. You're kind of worried about that. You're also seeing Steve-O fumble, Gibby fumble, and now Hendo. You're kind of seeing if he can go blast off with that, take advantage if he can get any added opportunities out of that. That's always a question. We got 11 carries, 28 yards. 2.5 yards per carry against a defense that got road dogged on the run game 2 games in a row. And we are forecasting that with this team going into this game. 29 carries, 7 of them Drake May, so 22 by the running backs, if my math's right. Could be wrong. It's late. Watch too much football. They tried. It didn't work out. 4.1 yard average, but is buoyed by May. You're also looking at the receiving game. Hunter Henry gets targets. Hunter Henry gets targets. People are scared to start him. Hunter Henry gets targets, and you just got to roll with it game in and game out. He is a guy that, if he's there on waivers, should be a priority pickup. He better not be on waivers, but he could be because you got to understand some of the questions I get, guys. He might be on some leagues. He's a pickup. He gets targets. He gets opportunity. It just, if he gets that touchdown or if he gets the right amount of volume, but 8 catches, 90 yards, 2 touchdowns, people are going to be chasing him. Mondre got some work in the passing game. Nothing else to really note here with the wide receivers. Kayshon Boutte, 2 for 28. Mac Hollins, 4 for 27. Stephon Diggs, 3 for 23. I said that weird. Calvin Austin, on the other hand, splashed with a touchdown, 3 for 34. Thank goodness DK got the touchdown because he was 3 for 32. Jaylen Warren caught 5 balls because, thank goodness, he only got 47 yards on the ground, 2.6 yards per carry. Kenneth Gainwell got the touchdown on 4 carries. Trey Sermon was brought up. Don't really even see him being used. The thing about this, Arthur Smith's going to Arthur Smith. This run game is going to cause them to funnel it in the passing game. So DK Metcalf becomes a little bit safer, but this is a low-volume passing offense. Low-volume team when it comes to play ran in general. Like, they're not going to run a lot of plays. Aaron Rodgers is very methodical with that. He's only got 4 seasons in his career when he's in the top 15 of plays ran. The Steelers the last 5 years or so has been bottom 20 of plays ran per game. So you're seeing that. That's coming in these matchups. You're seeing gritty matchups with that. 21-14 Steelers get it. Rodgers is getting it. He's fine. He's just fine, but he ain't great for fantasy. But you're looking at this. Those touchdowns saved you, especially with DK. Those catches for Jaylen Warren saved you if you started him. You're worried about these wide receivers. You're seeing what's going to happen with Drake May in the passing game. He's getting volume, though, with 268 yards. But you're more curious on how can we fuel Tendo and how we can get something out of these wide receivers. And now you're looking at the Steelers here, just methodically winning again, and they're 2-1. I told you there would be movement in this game. We hit the over. I told you there would be scoring. I talked about A.J. Brown, DeVonta Smith. In the matchup video, I said at least one's going to hit. Both of them hit. The big hitter, I don't know about my math, but it looks like A.J. Brown there. 10 points in yards, 6 points in catches, another 6, so 12 plus 10, 22. DeVonta Smith, 8 and 6, and what? That's fair enough fantasy production. Goddard got a little something for you as well, considering what we're seeing out of the tight ends. That's tight end 1 production this week. Kyren got 4.7 yards per carry. We're happy about that. We're back on track. 2 balls caught and a touchdown, 18 yards. Blake Corum, 6.6 yards per carry. He's looking nasty. Last week he had 8-something yards per carry. He's looking nasty. He's looking good. If I have Kyren Williams, I'm cuffing with Corum. Because if Kyren Williams goes down, Blake Corum's getting the job, and Blake Corum has been looking good, and this team probably wouldn't lose a beat because you're just going to target Puka Nacua anyways, and he's going to keep the flow of the offense. Thank goodness Davante Adams got that touchdown, 3 for 56, 11 balls caught, 112 yards for Puka. Puka's solid. Outside of that, most targets went to Puka Nacua and Davante Adams like it does every single week. Thank goodness Kyren Williams got that touchdown in the receiving game. Saquon, 46 yards on the ground, 4 balls caught. So not much there for you for fantasy, for Saquon level-esque production. You're looking at the quarterbacks here, 196 for Stafford, 226 for Hurts, but 3 touchdowns. They're monitoring the tush-push, but we got the TD for Hurts. 33-26, movement in this game. When I'm looking at the Rams here, I think they're going to push it to Puka and to Devontae, and whatever happens to the other players is what happens, and they're going to push some of these game scripts. Jets, Bucks, and we got more movement than what I thought because I was kind of scared of this game script. But it broke, but Mike Evans broke too, and I'm sad about that. I'm sad about the hamstring. I'm worried about that. Egbuka came into this game broke, but he fixed himself and caught 6 balls for 85 yards. At the end of that game, after Evans was out, he was stepping up. He was racking them and stacking them. Sterling Shepard, 5 targets. He's been getting targets. You may want to look at him if you're hurting that bad at wide receiver. He's not going to be good enough to win your league, but he might catch some moments here where he spikes up on you. You're looking at these running backs here. Bucky Irving, 66 yards, but also 4 balls caught, 33. So he's just money balling it for you. Rashad White, 1 ball caught, 5 carries. It's the Bucky Irving show. You're looking at Baker, a touchdown, 233. It looked very slow at the beginning of this, movement-wise. It picked up in the fourth quarter. And the yards, everything mounted up. This game had a fun ending to it. You're looking at the Jets side. Tyrod Taylor played his heart out. 2 touchdowns and a pick, 197. You're looking at the running backs here. We ain't getting much. Worried about that. Breece Hall, though, caught 4 balls, 31 yards or 7 points there. Another 2. So at least you got 9, which is horrible. Braylon Allen, 2 for 17 in the receiving game, 30 rushing yards. If you're looking at this team, you're looking at we need to get some flow here. And Garrett Wilson with the touchdown. 13 targets, 10 balls caught, 13 targets on 35 pass attempts. This is the man on this team. He is the offense. This offense flows when he flows, when you can get the ball to Garrett Wilson, because they got to make those plays downfield. They got to make it happen. But look at this. Mason Taylor, a guy that we've been watching every single week, 6 targets. I talked about him in the waiver wire video. He was the mystery player. Go check that out as we look at the waiver wire early on Sunday nights. This was a fun game. Emeka Egbuka's a stud. He's a stud. Don't question it. He's been looking solid. And Chris Godwin's going to be back soon. It was Road Dog City, and the Commanders whooped up on the Raiders 41-24. Made for a very interesting game script for fantasy football. Trey Tucker went off. Who started Trey Tucker? Somebody did, probably in daily fantasy football, made cash, especially this week, considering there's a lot of volatility and injuries. 9 targets, 145 yards, and 8 catches. That is when I talk about those throw-in players that are cheap when I'm looking at matchups. And this is back-to-back games where he got heavily targeted. So he's going to be a trendy pickup off the waiver wire. I'm not chasing this game. I understand the targets and everything, but you still got Brock. You still got Jacoby. Ashton Jeanty's going to start moving a little bit better eventually. He's in his ramp-up period. 3.7 yards per carry, 63 yards. You got to be patient with rookies. Kind of understand this was kind of a rougher matchup. The Commanders' defense has been pretty tough, especially against the pass. Geno Smith, 289, 3 touchdowns. Tucker got it done. Thornton, we've been waiting on him, but he's a deep target merchant. That's the thing about him. He's going to be a splashy wide receiver. I would not be surprised if he pulls a Trey Tucker somewhere down the line this season and wins somebody a bunch of money on daily fantasy football. Brock Bowers, 5 targets. Brock Bowers is going to have his moments as well. This really wasn't the correct matchup for your regular wide receivers. I believe I was too high on Jacoby Myers this week. I believed he was safe. I mean, 9.3 is fine-ish, but not really. It didn't win you anything. But 4 targets in this matchup. I figured he'd be around that 8 to 10 range when it came to targets. You're looking at the Commanders' side. Look at Terry McLaurin. We hit a 10 spot this week with Mariota. Luke McCaffrey gets a touchdown. Debo. I mean, you look at this game script. It is what it is. You're looking at the running backs. They all got a little piece of the pie. That is kind of scary when you're looking at running backs on a team, because it could be like random hitters every single week. Jeremy McNichols had a long run. Krosky Merritt got 8 carries. 11 carries for Chris Rodriguez. He's back. 3.5 yards per carry with him. 3.3 for JCM. McNichols with the long run. This game script was broken. It had some interesting scores in it, like Trey Tucker. But again, Mariota got you by this week. Falcons, Panthers, I burned this game script. I burned it. I figured the Falcons would at least be up early and there was some kind of mount back. I was not starting the Falcons D for sure because I figured Panthers would at least get a lot of points in garbage time. And I was just totally wrong on this game. There's always a game where I'm totally wrong, where things just go crazy. Week 1, it was Steelers-Jets. Scoring-wise, but not really wrong, because I wasn't really wrong too many games last week. Maybe Ravens-Browns, because they scored more than I predicted, but the Browns did what I predicted on defense. But this one might have been the wrongest of the wrong. 30-0. I was not expecting the Falcons to get goose-egged. Somehow Bijan was fine. Somehow, in a matchup like this, getting goose-egged, he's fine. 72 rushing yards and 5 balls caught, 39 yards. Darnell Mooney got 11 targets in this game. You're going to be hard-pressed to start him, though, because Michael Penix is rough. He's been rough. And I'm going back to my analysis from this spring and from looking at the camps, training camp, minicamp, OTAs with Michael Penix. And it's the same analysis I had with J.J. McCarthy. I believe they're in similar situations where if we get around Halloween to Thanksgiving time and we're hating our lives with these quarterbacks, we're going to know 100% sure that they ain't it. And the reason why is because they got everything around them. You got the running back, you got the wide receiver, you got the tight end. As long as everybody stays healthy, everybody's healthy right now. This is back-to-back. He scored 10 fantasy points in 2 weeks combined. That is rough. You got Drake London still getting you by. 8 targets, 5 balls caught, 55 yards. I'm still starting him every week. I might think about him harder now in the rankings. Thank you, Michael Penix. Thank you. We need some Viagra for that Penix. Chuba Hubbard, 73 rushing yards. What did he do in the receiving game? 2 balls caught. It's almost like the Panthers need to trail now for him. Like, he either needs to hit that goal line or the Panthers need to trail. Rico Dowdle got some work. T-Mac City, baby. T-Mac City. Watching this from Red Zone, it felt like T-Mac hung 148, not 48, and like 5 touchdowns. That's what it felt like. 3 for 48. 8 targets. Getting volume. You're looking at JT Sanders, 2 targets. It was a busted game script. Michael Penix messed up the game script for us in fantasy. Like, he messed it up. Like, the Falcons were supposed to be up. Panthers supposed to come back. They can win it for all I care. I don't care who wins. But there was supposed to be a little back and forth in the garbage time. Michael Penix messed up this whole game. 30-0 Panthers. I said it in live stream. There's almost like 3 to 4 scenarios here where C.J. Stroud, Trevor Lawrence, they either both cook or either one of them, that's 2 more scenarios, don't cook and they suck, or they both suck. Turned out today they chose to both suck. They both sucked today. They both killed the game script. And I said that because I always talk about the realm of possibilities. There's no certainties, just probabilities here. That was in there, and it did that. I talked about that on live today. I was very wishy-washy with this matchup, and deservingly so. I had Travis Etienne as a starter going into this week. Looks like he's fine, but 3.5 yards per carry, a touchdown, 56 yards. Brenton Strange, 7 targets. Like, there's very few tight ends to pick up off waivers right now. He's one of them. Brian Thomas Jr. had some big plays. 6 targets, 2 for 55, though. Parker Washington, 11 targets. Starting to rack him up, though. 7 fantasy points. Travis Hunter, you're waiting on him. You ain't starting him for a bit, guys. You ain't starting him for a bit. He's got to develop more. I mean, he played both ways. You got to wait on him. Nick Chubb, 4.2 yards per carry. 9 carries. Woody Mark, 6 carries. Woody Marks is starting to get more work. He's starting to chip away at that rock. And look who's the other running back taking care. Nobody else. Woody Marks is a stash. Play. It might not matter. This Texans team is 0-3 right now. They ain't up in many games. 11 targets for Nico Collins. 8 balls caught, 104 yards, and a touchdown. Solid work there. Dalton Schultz, 6 targets in this game. A lot of people are going to flock to him on the waiver wire articles. I am not. I already talked about him, and I told you I don't like him. I did that just a few minutes ago. I still don't like him. I think he's going to be volatile. Christian Kirk, 8 targets. He's back. It's going to be Nico Collins, Christian Kirk, and then floater targets to the rest of the wide receivers, especially the rookies there, Higgins and Null. But honestly, when you're looking at this team, and I got to throw this up there, Basil Tootin, super explosive, should be rostered in all leagues. Upside running back prospect here. And if Travis Etienne goes down, you're going to wish you had him rostered. Do not let him slip back to the waiver wire. 3.5 yards per carry. This was a weird game. These quarterbacks sucked it up today. Kind of knew this going in, that this was a 50-50 shot at a game script like this happening. Kind of said this. Not surprised. Broncos, Chargers. This one was a fun one. A lot of people worried about Bo Nix right now. Second-year quarterbacks. J.K. Dobbins taking up for him in the media right now. A touchdown, 83 yards. He's been looking solid. R.J. Harvey, where you been at, buddy? 3 balls caught, 14 yards, 2 yards on the ground. Where you been at, buddy? Where you been at? We need you to get some touches. We need you to get some work. Cortland Sutton was my start for the wide receivers in this game for the Broncos. It hit. I was pretty high on him, pretty bullish. 6 catches, 118 yards, and a touchdown. Troy Franklin, I was like, he hit last week, and I thought this game script was going to be weirder than what it was. Actually, we got good movement here. And Najee Harris got hurt. Achilles banged up. Omarion Hampton got to work, 70 yards, 1 touchdown. You're probably feeling better about starting him going forward. 6 catches, 59 yards. Like, a lot of you benched him. He was hard to start. But now Najee Harris is out. He's what they got. They're going to lean on him. They're going to ride him out. Justin Herbert's just safe. He's just safe. Like, it doesn't matter the matchup. He'll at least get you there to the fairway, and that's all you can ask. Quentin Johnston is having a revenge tour because you guys talked so much shit on him. But 10 targets in this game, 6 balls caught, 89 yards. He's almost like a must-start every week now. And him and Keenan Allen. I had Keenan Allen as my starter out of these wide receivers. He was my safe play. I knew he'd rack up the targets in this matchup. And I had him ranked ahead Ladd. And then I also had Quentin as my upside play, which means I technically had him ranked ahead Ladd unless you were looking at those targets. He got 7, but did nothing with them. 6 for 89 for Quentin, 7 for 61, 7 for 65, and a touchdown for Allen. And then Ladd, 4 for 41. And then Oronde Gadsden's here. He is here starting to get work. I will have a unique video out on him. I'm very excited about him. Good receiving profile. The Chargers are building. They are rolling, and I believe we're going to start the Hardball Dynasty era now, and it's going to build from here. This game on Red Zone was funny. You just kept looking up, and Seahawks just kept putting on points, and then you just stopped taking it seriously. You just kept looking at it like, what's going on here? Spencer Rattler, a touchdown and a pick, 218 yards. Shuck came in. Alvin Kamara got 42 yards on the ground. Kendre Miller got a little bit of work, but all right. And then Alvin Kamara only got 1 catch off 2 targets. So it's another Rattler game where he's not looking at Alvin Kamara. Chris Olave, 14 targets in this matchup. I felt good starting him. 10 balls caught, 57 yards, 15 fantasy points. Juwan Johnson is getting targeted like a wide receiver. 6 balls caught, 51 yards. Rashid Shaheed's a deep ball dandy. Did not splash this week. Nobody's starting Brandon Cooks. Just not enough volume when the tight end's getting the work there. Kenneth Walker, 38 yards. That is rough. But it was also a weird game script where they did not need to pound him out, but 2.4 yards per carry. Rough. George Halani got in there, got some work, got his feet wet a little bit. Jalen Milroe got in there. Everybody got an opportunity. Jackson Smith-Njigba, thank goodness, because this game script could have killed him this week. 5 balls caught, 96 yards, and a touchdown. Just be thankful. Just be thankful for that stat line because they were up big. 21 points in the first quarter. Like, be thankful for that stat line. I get it. He helped them get there. But be thankful because I see a lot of game scripts where it's rolling like this. The top wide receiver just gets you ho-hum production. And it's like, well, we didn't need to target him. We did not need to do that. Torrey Horton, touchdown. He is a deep play. He's a guy I'd pick up off waiver wires if he's free, cheap, because he's going to be getting deep targets downfield. JSN's not getting deep targets. Cooper Kupp's not getting it. Who's getting it? It's going to be Torrey Horton. He's going to be a good splash play in those matchups where there's going to be good movement in those game scripts. Bears, Cowboys. CeeDee Lamb got hurt. It ended the game pretty much. They should have just stopped it right after that. I do not know why they weren't giving Turpin carries instead of Lamb, but they gave Lamb the carry, and he got busted up. Now we're looking at Dak, 251, a touchdown, 2 picks. You're looking at Caleb. Good game. I was expecting Caleb to have a good game. I expected him to cook at home against this defense, but I was expecting CeeDee Lamb to be out there to give some more pushback. We did not hit the over as at 49. We did not hit that. Probably would have if they had Lamb out there because we would have had more gusto in that offense. Luther Burden, 3 balls caught, 101 yards and a touchdown. Going off, should be a pickup off the waiver wire as a stash play. Colston Loveland got some work, 3 targets, ball caught, 31 yards. DeAndre Swift, 3 catches, 45 yards. George Pickens got his touchdown, his deep play. I was expecting more, but I was also expecting Lamb to be out there to take some of the heat off him. Jake Ferguson racked up 14 targets. so you know who's getting the short to intermediate here. Jalen Tolbert's getting some work. They like him, but I don't expect him to splash. I expect Pickens to get force-fed deep downfield with Lamb out. Javonte Williams, 7.6 yards per carry. 41 yards from Miles Sanders. You're looking at this. Like, there was potential for this game to be grand on both sides. Even grander for the Bears. Even grander for the Cowboys. But Lamb went out. That impacted things. Looking at this, though, you got good production from Pickens. Got really pissed on the sideline. It only took 3 games for him to do that with the Cowboys. All in all, you got good movement on both ends. Niners, Cardinals. This game was slow to start things off in terms of scoring. 159 yards and a touchdown by Kyler Murray. Big news is James Conner getting hurt. And we're just going to rally cap that. And I hope he gets better. Hopefully he's back sooner than what the injury looks like. Trey Benson is the man off the waiver wire right now. And 4.3 speed, drafted in 3rd round. He was getting touches even with Conner being out there the last couple weeks. Christian McCaffrey, 17 carries, 52 yards. Nasty game script, but he's always going to back you up in the receiving game. 10 balls caught, 88 yards. Ricky Pearsall, 117 yards, 8 catches. I told some people to start him. I do not know the scenario. I was a little bit bullish on Marvin Harrison Jr. That killed me this week. We're not able to connect. There was a drop deep downfield. Trey McBride, 8 targets and a touchdown. 5 balls caught, 43 yards. He was fine. He was actually a tight end 1 for fantasy with that stat line because the tight ends didn't really do much. I'm not reading off many good tight ends, actually. Ricky Pearsall came into play. Kendrick Bourne got 6 targets but didn't do much with it. Mac Jones, 284, a touchdown and a pick. Purdy almost was ready to play. He might be back in their next matchup. That's something to pay attention to. He's been practicing. Mac Jones at least got you by another week. Those are the buy, sells, holds, and trades from Week 3 fantasy football. Let me know who you're picking up in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching. Catch you on the next video.